Hey guys, welcome to Aston Martin Uptown Toronto. Do I ever have something really special for you today? We get to walk through, spec, and order our very first DB11 Volante. It's gonna be the first car to arrive in Canada, so we have to make it really, really special. Let's dive into the configurator. So, let's talk about this DB11 Volante. This is the first car we're ever gonna have that's gonna arrive in Canada, so we wanna really start things off on a bold note. I was toying with a bunch of different exterior colors, and I personally think that Stratus White is, I think it's probably one of the most beautiful colors to have on DB11. So we're gonna start off with this as a fundamental, as a pillar. So I'm gonna configure it here in Stratus White. There we go. Now, let's talk about the splitter, diffuser, and side sills. So with this is a whole ground effects package on the Aston Martin. So we're talking about where the air intake is on the front, the lower, very, very lower section of the vehicle. So with that, there's three different options on DB11 Volante. We can have it in sort of like a gunmetal satin gray. We can choose gloss black, or we can also choose a Q Custom carbon fiber. Now the carbon fiber is pretty expensive, so what I wanted to do, I wanted to ground the vehicle, especially with the white, so we're gonna choose to have gloss black on the vehicle. You can see it here, how it adjusts. Next, rims. Rims are really the eye candy on all sports cars, and we want to really, really set this vehicle off. So with that being the case, there's a new style of wheels that are exclusively available on the DB11 Volante, and they call these, they're a new multi-spoke wheel. They call these ones Forged Gloss Black Diamond Turned. I think that these ones are the most beautiful in person on the car, and we gotta have that beauty on this particular vehicle. So we spec it like so. Next, we talk about the actual brake calipers on the car. Well, this is gonna tie in with what we're gonna do on the inside in a minute. I wanna set off the exterior immediately with these beautiful red painted brake calipers, which are basically gonna act as an exclamation mark for the entire exterior of the vehicle. Next, we move into the roof color. We don't really want to do too much here. I find that if we do an accent for the roof color too crazy, especially with a vibrant interior, it can come off as almost too much. So we're going to leave it with just a regular black, obsidian black roof. Now let's talk about the screen surround. So there's an option on DB11 Volante specifically to make the screen surround disappear. And essentially how we do this is by changing the screen surround to black. Now, I'm not crazy about the idea of this because I think it removes the entire top section of the car. And when the vehicle's convertible top is dropped, we want to actually use that area as sort of an exclamation mark again. So I'm going to leave it as white, and I'm also going to choose to have the mirror caps left in white. This is the waistline finisher, and the waistline finisher is the whole area that surrounds the top of the convertible. I do want to have this in black to match that lower section of the body. I think that'll look really, really slick in person. Next, we got to talk about the mirror caps. Again, I'm just going to leave these in white. I think that it will match the top section of the roof, and it'll create a unified look for the vehicle. Now, let's talk about the exterior finisher pack. So this is basically the pack where you get to choose a whole bunch of the different accents for the vehicle. The grille, the side vents, the air intakes on the vehicle. This is key with DB11. We're going to choose to go with a dark package on the vehicle. So with this, the grille becomes black, the side vents become black, and then also air intakes on the top of the hood become black. And it's gonna create this very sort of aggressive, assertive look to the vehicle. There is an option there for Q Carbon, and that's a new option for 2019. If you choose to do that, it'll look stunning, but it does add quite a bit in cost. We have the option for black meshes. These automatically default in our market when we choose the black package. Door releases, there's an option for carbon fiber. I think we're just gonna leave them with the white ones because you see the side of the vehicle just blends beautifully there. Now, this is something I was really caught up on, the rear tail lights on the vehicle. There's an option on 2018 forward to go with frosted rear tail lamps, where they just disappear into the rear of the vehicle. Now, because of the red brake calipers and what we're gonna do with the inside of the vehicle, I've chosen to keep the rears in the red. And I think you'll see when the vehicle arrives in person, this really is gonna lend to the overall design of the car. Now, we talk about interiors. So there's essentially three different interior options that we have for the DB11. First and foremost, from the perspective of the trim split of the interior. We have monotone environments, we have duotone environments, and finally, we have the new option for Q split environments, which is a really, really neat thing that we started for the very first time with our DB11 Furka Pass Edition. So with this particular car, I want to keep things simple and modern. So with that in mind, I'm going to go with a monotone environment. Next, we dive into the different colors for the interior. Now, before we can dive into the colors for the interior, we first have to choose a quality of leather. Aston Martin offers 3 qualities of leather. We have Strathmore, Caithness, and Balmoral. Now, for the widest selection of colors, we want to go right in the middle as quality goes, with a Caithness leather hide. So, I've kind of hinted with the exterior where you did that little exclamation mark with those bright red brake calipers. I want to do a red leather interior on this car. And I want to start off with spicy red leather interior. So there's a whole host of different reds that are available on the inside. I was really between 2, vivid red, which is as red as you can possibly imagine, and then spicy red, which when you expand it to an entire vehicle, I think spicy is going to lend itself beautifully for the interior of this car. So let's adjust here to spicy red on our configurator. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna do a full spicy red leather interior. So that's the seats, that's the dashboard, that's the rear of the deck lid. This is gonna be a really, really exotic looking interior when you see it in the flesh. Now we do have to ground that interior. Now to do that, we're gonna do a couple of things. First and foremost, we gotta ground it with the exterior. So I'm gonna use black as the contrast stitch work for the entire interior. And we're gonna do like a specialty contrast. So we're gonna do a contrast stitch color. And then the contrast stitch, I'm gonna select here, and we're gonna select Obsidian Black. Obsidian Black is Aston Martin term, fancy word for just regular black leather interior. Next, seat technology. Now, there's a couple options for Aston Martin seats. We have power seat bolsters that'll grab you from the sides, the back of the sides, and also from the bottom of the seat. We're gonna adjust for that because you just gotta have it on a DB11. It's all about the comfort and luxury. And then we also have the option for heated and ventilated seats. Especially with a Volante, you have to have the air-conditioned seats. You get the top down on these, it will be hot in the summertime. Next, we have seat quilting. So I would like to do accent quilt work for the interior. We call this Nexus quilting. We're gonna do Nexus quilt matched to stitch. So what that means is all of the quilt work will then ground the interior with that obsidian black. Next, we have broguing. Now on this interior, with this being a very, very bright leather color, I think we're gonna leave out the broguing. On darker interiors, this will look exquisite and really lend itself to the craftsmanship that's available with Aston Martin. But with this bright interior, the leather itself is gonna be enough of a statement. So we're gonna leave the broguing out. And next we go to the Racona headlining. So with this, I don't want it to be too old school. So we're gonna go with something really nice and dark. We're gonna go again with the Obsidian Black Racona interior. And this again is just the lining of that beautiful soft top. So we have the option for Alcantara here, and this is on the top of it. We're gonna change that as well so that when you fold the whole top up of the vehicle, it's all gonna be that beautiful Alcantara. Next, this is a really, really important part of the interior, and that is the trim veneer. So there was a lot of thought that went into this, and I have decided on this particular car to go with chopped carbon. Now, chopped carbon is available in 2 finishes. We have the satin option here, and we have the gloss option here. Now, being a convertible, I don't want there to be a lot of glare that comes off of the trim. So for that reason, I decided to go with the satin finish. Typically, if we were doing a coupe, I would choose to do the mirrored finish, this really nice glossy finish. So satin on the inside of this one though. So let's select it here, satin chopped carbon. So the whole surround for the navigation console, all of the insides of the door casings are now gonna change that satin chopped carbon. Seat back veneers. So this is an interesting option that was exclusively made available on the new DB11 Volante. It is really cool. It is the option to take our chopped carbon and extend it to the rear of the seats. So this being the case, it's never been available before. Absolutely, we're gonna try this one out. I think it'll look really, really neat in person. There you can see it on the back of the seat rests, that beautiful satin chopped carbon. Very, very different than the original press footage now that we're starting to see with this car that I'm speccing out. It's very trendy, it's very edgy, and I think also in this configuration, it's kind of patriotic. So now let's talk about the jewelry package. So on the interior of every Aston Martin, we have a whole host of different options for aluminum. We're gonna choose to accent the interior of this vehicle with a satin finish, and we're gonna go with a 301 milled aluminum in this nice black. So it's kind of, in person, if you're familiar with Apple products, it's kind of like a space gray. It finishes beautifully, and it's gonna tie itself in with that beautiful chopped carbon. You can see the list of all the different areas where everything is genuine aluminum on this car. It's awesome. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I really believe that on the interior of our cars, if you change the steering wheel to match the leather, it looks really exotic. So what I wanna do here is I wanna match the steering wheel to the leather. Check this out. It just looks so cool. So we're gonna have the interior steering wheel the exact same as the rest of the interior, which is just gonna look really slick in person. Next, we're gonna talk about cabin carpets. Not a lot to say here. We're gonna keep it obsidian black. We had the option to go spicy red, but that's a lot of red at that point. We need, again, to ground the interior. One thing I am gonna do, though, is the most expensive option for carpeting, which is edge binding match to lower environment leather. So what that does is it basically gives us the surrounding of our carpet mats in that beautiful leather hide, the spicy red, and it makes them deep piles. So they're really, really thick, and just a nice little added touch. Makes it feel super, super, super premium. Boot cap carpet, we're just gonna leave it black. There's an option here if you, again, decide to go with like a spicy red, or maybe you wanna go with a kestrel tan or something of that nature, you can change the boot carpet as well to match. So offering you the ultimate in customization. Seatbelt colors, you know what? I think we're gonna opt here again for the spicy red, just to tie everything in. That'll look really, really slick. The headrests. So we have a whole host of different options for either embroidering or embossing the headrests. What I've decided to do is just go with a classic Aston Martin embroidery. So there's over 3,000 individual stitches that go into one of these headrests, and it takes them literally hours to do just one car. We're gonna add that in on the car, but in reverse. So we'll do spicy red with black contrast stitching. So you can see here, we're gonna do embroidered Aston Martin wings, and that will look really slick when it adds it in. Bingo. So next we have thread match to stitch option. So this is really just for essentially if we wanted to have the headrests where the Aston Martin logo was there, but you wouldn't even see it. It was just like basically right in on the headrest, and you wouldn't even notice it with thread match to stitch. So we're gonna do, rather we are gonna do thread match to stitch. There's an option for it to match the leather. Sill plaques, we're not gonna do anything custom on this. If you're custom ordering the vehicle from the factory, we can have your name put into it, which looks really, really slick. Now on the audio system, I am gonna upgrade to the Bang & Olufsen sound system. Obviously, Aston Martin is well known for their partnership with B&O. They make the best sound systems in the industry, and we gotta really have that, especially on the Volante. So next we have the software update for touchpad control. And what this essentially adds is the ability for you to draw in individual instructions in the navigation system. It makes navigating the entirely new MMI interface a lot easier, so I'm gonna select that on this particular car. Next, we have the option for custom fitted luggage. Now, Aston Martin offers incredible custom fitted luggage that can be configured in the actual leather hides that your vehicle is ordered in. This adds an incredibly personalized touch to it. I'm not gonna dive in and order it on this particular car, but I thoroughly encourage you when you come to the dealership, check out these luggage pieces because they are stunning. Next, we have convenience options. These are all available through our parts and accessories department. These are all little individual options which I can dive into detail on a client by client basis, but there's some pretty neat things through here. Next, we have options through parts department for active aero, Q carbon, a whole bunch of neat little things, but again, this is typically done after the vehicle's been ordered. Finally, we just have some things like the protective film on the car and the wind deflector. These again are all through accessories. And we have the individual car covers. All Aston Martins we order at this dealership come with a custom fitted car cover from factory. I think that it allows our customers to keep their cars clean and pristine in the winter months, so it's a thing that we do on all cars. We have a couple options here: blind spot monitoring, auto parking, and heated steering wheel. I select each of them because customers, they just like to have these little added functions on their vehicles. Auto parking, not something you see on exotics very often, but a neat function nonetheless. And then finally, here we have it. This is the summary of our vehicle. It is gonna be absolutely stunning when it arrives. I'm gonna go over here and drop the roof down on our configuration so you can see it with the top down. I think the red, the spicy red leather interior is an exclamation mark on this configuration. I think that those beautiful 20-inch forged alloy wheels are absolutely stunning. And when we see this car in person, it is going to be outstanding. Now, this being the very first DB11 Volante in Canada, we're actually having this vehicle air freighted in from the United Kingdom. So literally one day this vehicle is going to be at Heathrow and the next it's going to arrive on our shores. And using the power of editing, I get to show that vehicle to you today. And here it is, guys, the final product, the DB11 Volante, our first DB11 Volante, and in a rather patriotic color combination, I would say. It looks absolutely stunning in the flesh. Now, I want to talk about a couple different points on this. First and foremost, let's talk about the exterior color. This falls into Aston Martin's contemporary paint range, which means that it costs $2,193.60 extra for this paint. But in person, I would guess you guys would probably agree, it looks absolutely stunning. Another point on this vehicle are those wheels. The 20-inch Y-spoke alloys are incredible, and I think that it's no better color combination than these beautiful gloss black diamond turned ones. These came in at $7,656 Canadian, and again, really add to the exterior design of the car. Another thing that really grounds the exterior of the vehicle is the splitter. And with this particular vehicle, again, we chose to use that gloss black splitter on the front and then diffuser on the rear. This came to $2,394. And again, it adds this beautiful, beautiful exterior option. If, however, you did want to choose to, DB11 Volante now has available with it a custom option to do this area in carbon fiber. It is rather expensive though, at $18,360 extra. With DB11 Volante, a lot of those unique design features that we talked about, from the vehicle's beautiful spicy red leather interior to its stunning white exterior, are part of a single package called Contemporary and Luxury. This includes the contemporary paint on the outside, the contemporary leather on the inside, colored seat belts, contemporary carpets, that beautiful celestial perforation, Nexus quilting, in this case, the Alcantara roof liner for the convertible top, and then on top of that, it also includes the color-keyed steering wheel and the color-matched trunk carpet. All of this is part of a $13,759 option, but as you can see, it's pretty much a must-have on this car. Another really important package that I think is an absolute must is the Tech Pack Plus. This includes the vehicle's touchpad control, the self-parking system, blind spot monitoring, and incredible Bang & Olufsen audio, which personally I just can't live without. The interior jewelry pack in dark chrome is part of the customization process, and in this case costs $1,914 extra, but boy oh boy does it add to the overall appearance of that interior. And what a looker it is. This stunning Aston Martin DB11 Volante came in at $300,080.60. So there you guys have it, the very first DB11 in the country, and what a car it is. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to visit us here at Aston Martin Uptown Toronto, and we'll see you on the next one.